Hi, welcome to my channel, Mostly Knitting. I'm Tash, and most of my videos here on YouTube involve me sharing about the knitting that I've been doing, and I also put out regular tutorials. Today's video though is an inspiration video. I've been seeing a lot of skirt sets out lately in the last sort of year or two, and I'm inspired to make one. So a skirt set for me involves a knitted skirt and then either a blouse or a camisole, and they've been designed by the same designer as a bit of a like a combination. They're often sold as separate patterns, but it's sort of the one look and their style together. So in today's episode, I've got 4 summer yarn versions, so that's something knit with like cotton or silk or linen or some kind of blend, and then 3 winter yarn, so it's sort of like a wool blend or a wool and silk mohair blend version. So I will start with the summer ones first, and then I'll move on to the winter ones. Hopefully, whichever hemisphere you're in, whatever season you're moving into, you'll find something that is inspirational for you, either coming up or for the next season. I'll start with a fairly recent skirt set pattern, and that is the Seashore skirt and blouse by Veronika Lindberg, who is Kudavakika. Now these patterns are sold separately as individual patterns, and they are €6.90 each. They are on a 21 stitch gauge with a 4mm needle, and the yarn that she's using is Knitting for Olive silk held double. They're both knit top down, and the skirt comes in like a short length and a midi length. Because it's done in a lot of sort of lace panels, it may be a little bit tricky to lengthen, but you could probably just add an extra section of a particular lace. But I think you probably want to have a little bit of pre-planning. Some of the skirt sets here, the skirts are pretty easily modified just by an inch or two, whereas I think the ones that are done in panels, you probably have to have a little bit more forethought going in if you want to make sort of something either longer or or shorter. So, but it does come in 2 specific lengths. Because of the lace, there may be some issues in terms of, being able to see through. So you might want to have a little think about your undergarments, whether you want to wear boy shorts or a slip or something, just so that, that you're comfortable with the lace, that you might actually be able to see through to what you're wearing underneath. Both of those patterns are knit top down. So that's the first pairing. I've just got my notes down here, so because there's quite a bit to talk about. I've got 7 sets, so it's 14 patterns. So I'm trying to just make sure I'm prepared. So sorry if I'm looking down occasionally, just to keep an eye on what I'm talking about for each version. The second set that I wanted to share is the Summer Skirt and Top by Sandnes Garn, and that needs to be purchased with the yarn from a retailer. And this one's I'm really excited about because I've seen Elsa from We Are Wool People. She has just received the yarn from Sandnes Garn as part of a collaboration with Yarnacopia. So Yarnacopia is selling Sandnes Garn worldwide except for Scandinavia and the US in the month of September. And you can purchase, so we're nearly at September now, so pretty soon you'll be able to purchase the pattern and the yarn to make it from Yarnacopia. So, and I love the yarn, the colour that Elsa has chosen. It's a gorgeous pink colour. So I'll just talk a little bit about the pattern. It's a 22 stitch gauge on 3.5mm needles, and the yarn is actually 2 yarns held double. It's Tin Lene and Mandarin, which is a cotton rayon linen blend, and Mandarin Petite, which is 100% cotton. So those 2 yarns held together. The skirt comes in a short version and a long version, and it is sort of knit in from top down in lace, sort of varying lace panels as you go down. Again, because the length of the panels, it's one that if you wanted to make it longer or shorter, you might need to plan ahead a little bit in advance. The top is also knit top down, and then the straps are, it's much more of a top sort of camisole as opposed to a blouse. So the one that I mentioned, the Seashore one with Kudavakika, that's a long sleeve version, whereas this is much more a camisole. There's no sleeves and it's got very thin straps. So it's knit top down, and the straps are done completely later. So it's more like just a circle, a tube going down, and then later on you knit straps, and they're actually knit sideways, which is quite interesting. When you take a close look at the pattern, there you sort of cast on for the length of the strap first, work just a few rows, and then bind off, and then you attach them to the tube to make your top. It does mean that you have to think a little bit about the length of your straps going forward, but you could sort of really stretch them out a little bit, make sure that you've got a length that you're happy with. but it isn't as easy perhaps to go back late. I mean, it's easy to sort of cut them off and start again, but you'd have to sort of almost redo the whole straps completely if they stretched out. So that's just something to think about. Yeah, but anyway, really cute pattern. And also the top is also all over lace, so is the skirt. So you probably would have to think a little bit about your undergarments there. But anyway, that is that's the second summer skirt set. The second summer skirt set is actually in a book by Sari Nordlund called Summer Knits, and it's the Venus skirt and top. So at the moment you can only get these patterns if you purchase the book, but I'm sure eventually after the book has been out for a little while, you could get them individually on Ravelry. But, you know, I think there's actually quite a lot in that book. So, yeah, quite a few things have caught my eye there. So I think if I was going to make this, I probably would just buy the book, because when they become available on Ravelry, you'll probably have to buy both of them separately anyway. So actually, this is quite an interesting combination, because the two weights of yarn are different in the skirt and the top. So the skirt is knit top down, but it's a 20 stitch gauge on a 4mm needle, and that's knit in Ritual Dyes Undine DK, which is a 60% cotton, 40% linen blend, but the DK version, where 100 grams is 250 meters. Whereas the skirt, so that's the skirt, sorry, it is one length, but just looking at the pattern, it looks like it's quite easily adjustable. It's also top down. Now the top has a different gauge because it's a different yarn. It's also Ritual Dyes Undine, but it's the fingering weight version. So 100 grams is 350 meters, and that has a 24 stitch gauge on a 3.5mm needle. Now this top is a camisole. It's knit top down. It has I-cord straps. One of the things that I did notice is, so you start up here and then you knit down just in like back and forth in a panel, and then eventually you cast on stitches for the back and then you knit in a tube. But when I've looked at people's versions on Ravelry, some of them seem to be sort of flaring out a little bit on the side. So I think that's something to be mindful of there. I'm not sure how you would combat that. Maybe just being a little bit tighter on the side. You may need to thread elastic thread through the sides if you were thinking about making that, because that's not really an area where I'd want that flaring. I'd be a little bit worried because there's no finishing on the sides. I'd be a little bit worried about if it's flaring, you're going to potentially expose yourself. So maybe you have to have a think about that one. But it does look really beautiful and really elegant. So that's my third skirt set. The fourth summer skirt set that I wanted to share is the Louisa summer skirt and top, and that is by Mariasverden, who is Maria Mogenstad. And the top and the skirt, they're available for purchase. The top is 80 krona and the skirt is 70 krona. So you do have to purchase them individually. They both have, it's actually like a striped pattern, but you could do it all in one color if you wanted to. The yarn is knitting for Olive Pure Silk, and it's knit at a 24 stitch gauge on a 3mm needle. Now, the other thing that's quite interesting about both of these patterns is these are both bottom up. So everything else that I've mentioned has been top down. This skirt and top are both bottom up. So that's definitely something that you would probably, I mean, I guess either way, you can still kind of try it on as you go, because usually the tops of all of the skirts are just, you know, the thickness of a band folded over and threaded with elastic. So you can sort of still be trying it on as you go to see how long you want for the length. And even though it's only got one length, you could customize it pretty easily with this pattern. One thing to think about there is just how much yarn you're going to need. It can be a bit tricky with a skirt, like if you're going to make it longer or shorter, obviously you're going to need a different amount of yarn. So if you may want to cover yourself a little bit there to have a bit extra, just something to think about. So the top is also knit bottom up just as a tube, and then it's got some double knit edging at the top, and also the straps are double knit. So that's also much more of a camisole. So that's it for the summer skirt sets. One thing when I was doing this, sorry about my dog, as soon as I start recording, he just wants to go for a wander around the house. Anyway, he's on carpet now. One of the things when I was looking at these patterns, when I was looking at Maria's website, she has a number of beautiful patterns. So this is just a little side insert. I thought I'd mention a couple of other beautiful patterns that she's released. One is the Klara blouse, which has this gorgeous, which is a separate little, like a collar detail, which you knit separately and you can wear with the sweater or apart. And that's a 21 stitch gauge with Sandnes Garn Sunday and Sandnes Garn Tin Silk Mohair. And the other one that was really, that one I absolutely want to make. Like I think that little collar is so delicate and feminine, so pretty. And the other one, which I probably won't make, but it did catch my eye, was the Nathalia dress, which is a 21 stitch gauge with knitting for olive silk and knitting for olive soft silk mohair. The concern I have with this is it's a very dramatic, large cutout in the back, but it would cover down past your bra, so you probably couldn't even wear any kind of bra with it. Anyway, they're both, that's a blouse and a dress, which is not part of this, but when I was researching and I saw the Louisa skirt and top, I saw those two and thought I'll just throw those in here as well. Anyway, that's it for the summer skirt set patterns. Moving on to the winter sets. The first one I want to share is the Nova sweater and skirt pattern, and that is by Sandnes Garn, and it's actually in this book, volume Sandnes Garn 2311. So Sandnes Garn are moving towards individual patterns, but this particular skirt and sweater set was actually in one of their older versions, which is in the booklet. Now the booklet and actually the yarn for this pattern was sent to me by Sandnes Garn as part of the collaboration with Yarnocopia, so this was gifted to me. And the yarn that I'm going to use, which is the yarn that's in the pattern, is Tin Peer Gint, and the colorway is 2641, which is one of the colors that's in the actual design. So it's in like a pink version, and then there's also this natural version. So this is actually knit at a pretty fine gauge on the 3mm needles in stockinette, which is for the waistband. It's 27 stitch gauge. And then the rest of the skirt is like a broken rib. So one round is knitting, and then the next round is a knit one, purl one. And so you just do that throughout and do increases down. There's a short version and a long version, but of course you could probably do something in between. I plan to make the long version, so I've got 10 balls, which hopefully will be enough. I haven't got the yarn for the sweater. I'm just starting with the skirt, and I think the sweater might come later, but I'll share about the sweater in a minute. They're both top. Actually, the interesting thing here, the skirt is top down. The long version is 1 meter long. I mean, I don't have to knit it that long, but like that's kind of the recommended length. I'm pretty short, so I might get away with doing a little bit less than that, but it has a lot of knitting. But I'm excited to be making it. I have actually already cast on. I only just cast on, so I've done like 2 rounds. Sometimes I would normally cast on and do a provisional cast on, so that then when I come down, like after you sort of knit for a certain bit, do the turning round, knit for the rest, then I'd knit it together, which is what I usually do for things like the Oslo hat. But with this one, I don't have the elastic yet. I don't know, I think I just probably wasn't thinking actually when I did it, but it's not that big a deal. I don't mind sewing it down, but when I do sew it down, if I don't have the elastic, what I might do, because the pattern actually just has you just not sew it down until the very end. What I will probably do is, apart from like the little bit in between, I will actually knit it together with the live stitches, but leaving, maybe 20 stitches open so that I can thread the elastic through when I purchase it, and then just tack down the rest, because I still think that will be a little bit quicker. So I have just started it. I'm quite excited. I'm going to knit on that later this afternoon because at the moment it's very easy and light, so I'll knit on that on the treadmill later. But getting back to that's the skirt pattern. That's going to take me a while, and I can probably for at least a ball or 2, I'll be able to knit it while I'm on the treadmill. After that, it'll probably have to be when I'm sitting down. The sweater is really interesting, actually. There's a pattern for bottom up and a pattern for top down. So in this book, it's written 2 different ways. It's the same style, but like same style of sweater. There's no difference between the 2 of them. It's just a difference in the construction. If you like top down, you can follow that instruction. If you like bottom up, you can do it that way. I don't know why you do bottom up if there's a top down one, but to each their own. So that is the Nova skirt and sweater. So I'll be making this skirt first. Eventually, I'm sure I'll get yarn for the sweater and make a full set. The other 2 winter skirt sets that I wanted to share about are actually part of the ISIA Archives 2024 collection. So you actually purchase them individually through the designer, but they're part of a larger collection with some great designers all using ISIA yarns. So the first one that I wanted to mention is the Gerda sweater and skirt, and that is by AegyoKnit. and that is available, they're both available individually. The skirt is 55 krona and the sweater for the pattern, and the sweater is 60 krona. So that's knit on a 19 stitch gauge on a 4mm needle using 3 strands of yarn, actually 2 of the Isia spinny and 1 of the soft silk mohair. So both the sweater and the skirt are top down, and the skirt is pretty easily adjustable for whatever length you want to make it. But again, you have to think about the amount of yarn that you're going to use. So that one looks really lovely. Just all cables and different sort of textured knits in that one. So that's a really beautiful pattern there by AegyoKnit. The last skirt set is the Tove shirt and skirt designed by Lene, and she's the designer behind the Archer sweater that I'm making at the moment. Now these patterns are available on Ravelry. It's 50 krona for the skirt and 60 krona for the shirt pattern. Now the yarn used here is Isia spinny held with Isia silk mohair, just the 1 strand of the spinny this time and 1 strand of the silk mohair. And for the shirt, that's a 22 stitch gauge on a 4mm needle for the stockinette portion. There's some really lovely mosaic in the collar and the cuffs, which is just really beautiful. And the skirt is actually an all over mosaic, so it's a different gauge on the skirt. The skirt is 24 stitches in the mosaic pattern, although there's a stockinette just for the waistband. Both patterns are top down, and the shirt is actually a Henley, so it's a collared shirt with buttons to about here. And yeah, it just looks like a really beautiful design, very clever. And the skirt you can make as long as you like, but once again, yarn usage. And because of the mosaic knitting and all the different colors, it just looks like a fantastic design. So they're the 7 for summer and 3 winter skirt sets that have caught my eye and I think are really beautiful. I've already started on the Nova skirt, and I'm pretty sure in September I'll be purchasing yarn from Yarnacopia for the summer skirt and top set. And I'll probably be copying Elsa with her colour because I just, I love pink. I will have to think about what I'm wearing underneath, but I'll probably wear either a slip or boy shorts or something, just because of the lace pattern. Anyway, hopefully you found that inspiring. Oh, I did mean to mention just that Isia Archives collection. If you haven't looked at some of those patterns, they really are beautiful. The Karla cape by Ventzel is part of that that set, that sort of collection. The Norma sweater by Louise Rasmussen, who's my favourite things knitwear, that's part of that collection. And the Esther jacket by Petite, and I think there's a whole range of Esther patterns. And there's quite a few others in that collection as well. It's very inspiring, but you don't purchase through the collection, but they're just really lovely ones, and obviously all using Isia yarns. All right, hopefully you found something inspiring in there, whatever season you're going into, that you might find interesting to knit. And maybe leave me a comment if there's any of those that you've either made before or you're thinking of making, or after watching this you think, I might actually make that. So thanks for being here, and I'll be back with a regular podcast in about a week.